Paris, the city of lights, romance, and dreams. But for one woman, it became the setting of a nightmare. A love that began beneath the Eiffel Tower ended with police sirens, blood-soaked sheets, and a betrayal that shocked 2 continents. This wasn't just a crime, it was a crash between cultures, secrets, and blind passion. Emily Rivera was a 31-year-old travel photographer from San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. Her Instagram was filled with stunning images from around the world, but her heart longed for more than just beautiful views. She craved romance. Then came Damien Laurent. He slid into her DMs after she posted a photo from a short trip to Nice, France. Damien was everything she'd imagined a French man would be: suave, intellectual, mysterious. He called her ma belle, sent voice notes laced with a Parisian accent, and told her she was the kind of woman who belonged in poetry. Within weeks, they were FaceTiming daily. Within 2 months, Damien had convinced Emily to return to France. This time, not as a tourist, but as his lover. Emily packed her bags and flew to Paris. The city was everything she'd imagined: romantic, elegant, intoxicating. Damien lived in Montmartre, in a vintage apartment filled with books, candles, and jazz records. He introduced her to French wines, local bakeries, and weekend trips to Normandy. But not everything translated so easily. Emily was warm, expressive, and loved physical affection, while Damien was distant, brooding, and evasive. They argued about things she couldn't quite understand: his need for space, his long hours, and his cold silences. He said she didn't get French culture. She said he didn't get Mexican warmth. Yet, every time she threatened to leave, he pulled her back in with whispered apologies and promises of forever. Emily started noticing strange things. Damien would disappear for hours without explanation. He always had cash, large amounts, but no visible job. He spoke about business associates, but never let her meet them. One night, she found a burner phone hidden behind a stack of books. The messages were cryptic: mentions of deliveries, coded locations, and names she didn't recognize. When she confronted him, he laughed it off. "You're being dramatic," he said. "It's just side hustle stuff. I'll explain when the time is right." But Emily's instincts screamed louder than ever. Something was wrong. That night, she packed her bag. She planned to leave the next morning, catch a train to Marseille, then a flight home. But she never made it. At 3:27 a.m., a neighbor called the police after hearing screaming from Damien's apartment. When officers arrived, they found Emily bleeding on the floor of the bedroom, stabbed 5 times. Damien was nowhere to be found. At first, it looked like a domestic argument turned deadly. But investigators quickly uncovered a darker twist. Emily had discovered that Damien wasn't just a mysterious boyfriend. He was involved in an international drug ring. His business associates were cartel runners operating between Paris, Marseille, and North Africa. Emily, police believed, had threatened to expose him. And for that, she paid the ultimate price. Interpol got involved. Emily's parents in Mexico flew to France, devastated and desperate for answers. The French police issued a red notice for Damien Laurent, whose real name turned out to be Alain Dubois. He had a history of fraud, identity theft, and connections to organized crime in Marseille. CCTV from the train station captured Alain boarding a train to Geneva hours after the murder. Swiss authorities were notified. Airports were alerted. But Alain vanished. No passport trail. No sightings. Just a blood-soaked apartment and a trail of broken hearts. French detectives worked with Mexican and Swiss officials to piece together Alain's movements. It took 6 weeks, but he was finally found hiding in a remote cabin near the French-Italian border, using a fake identity and planning to flee into northern Africa. The trial was swift, but tense. Emily's parents sat through every hearing, facing their daughter's killer in a foreign courtroom. The prosecution painted Alain as a manipulator who lured vulnerable women with charm, then used them or discarded them. Emily was just the one who got too close to the truth. Alain's defense claimed self-defense. That Emily had discovered his double life and attacked him first. That he panicked. That it wasn't premeditated. The jury didn't buy it. The cultural tension was palpable. French media described Emily as naive and emotional. Mexican media clapped back, calling it victim blaming, and highlighting the systemic bias against foreigners, especially Latin Americans, in European trials. In the end, Alain was sentenced to 22 years in prison. Emily's mother wept as the verdict was read. Her father held a photo of Emily at age 10, smiling in a white dress, clutching a camera. The story became a headline across borders. In Mexico, Emily was painted as a brave, romantic soul who traveled for love and was betrayed by evil. Morning talk shows replayed her travel photos, and Instagram tributes poured in. In France, the coverage was more cynical. They focused on Alain's past crimes, yes, but also on Emily's reckless choice to move in with a man she barely knew. In Italy, where Alain was finally caught, the tabloids dubbed it La Tragédie d'amour. Netflix producers reportedly contacted Emily's family for documentary rights. A podcast series called Passport to Murder aired a 3-part feature on her case. Her story resonated with women around the world, especially solo travelers and those who'd fallen in love online. Would you risk everything for love overseas? Emily did. She believed in fairy tales, in passport stamps that turn into soulmates. But for her, the cost was too high. When you fall in love abroad, are you embracing freedom, or playing Russian roulette with your heart? Let us know in the comments. Would you pack your bags for someone you barely know? Is romance without borders worth the risk? If this story gripped your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more international true crime stories, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Heartstrings and Handcuffs brings you tales of love that crossed borders and crossed the line. Stay safe, stay smart, and remember, not every romance has a happy ending.